Hi guys, and welcome back to Hilltop Farm, and welcome to another episode of Across the Duck Pond. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. As I say, this is a new videos for us, is dealing with the ducks and showing you about that. So, just trying to think where we're at. We're, according to our trusty incubator here, our flown in, if you remember, one clutch of eggs has been flown in from interstate. They have just finished day 7 and they've clicked into day 8, which means their first week is up. The local eggs have just finished day 6 and have started day 7, so they've got till tomorrow morning before they start their second week. Now, I must confess I have been keeping an eye on them with candling, and as we suspected, fertility rate is way down. You've got to remember here that we are about to go into winter, and in fact winter sort of hit last weekend here with a vengeance. We had terrible winds and rain, and it was cold, and it is cold today, and we're getting nights that are almost down to freezing. So when it gets like that, the ducks just, the girls just stop laying, and the boys, I think, lose the will to do what the boys normally want to do. So yeah, everything comes to a halt until the springtime. Now with our ducks that happened some weeks ago, because where we are is on a peninsula south of the city of Adelaide in South Australia, and it's much colder down here, and we're also higher altitude than the city is, so it is much colder down here. So ours stopped laying some weeks ago, and as I say, the local eggs we got are from friends of ours north of the city where it's warmer, but even she said hers are on the tail end. So she can't guarantee fertility. Now when I have been looking, my suspicion has been that of the eggs we've got from interstate, the ones that were flown in, 5 of them look good, look very promising. You can clearly see veining, you can see the embryos about half the size of my little fingernail, but you can see it. So that's 5 of those. There's 2 of them that I'm a bit suspicious about. I reckon, not 2 of the 5, but 2 others that I suspect were fertile that aren't anymore. That's my suspicion with those 2, and the rest of them may as well cook them for fried eggs, because I don't think they're any good. Now the 16 I got locally, it's even a sadder story for that. Now it's harder because they're a day behind the others, of course, and I did this 24 hours ago, something like that. But I could find 1 of the 16 that definitely had the veining, and you could see tiny weeny embryo. There's 3, maybe 4 others that I'm suspicious about could be fertile. Now you've got to remember, the ones I got locally are a lot dirtier too than the ones I got from interstate, so it's really hard to see, so I'm going to have to leave a lot of them longer. But there's also an awful lot of them that are obviously infertile. Now those of you that haven't done this before, or perhaps have only watched candling with chicken eggs, I'm going to candle in a minute and I'm going to show you, because with duck eggs, as I say, if they're clean and they're pale, it is so obvious when you candle them. You can see the veining, you can see embryos, and with infertile eggs you can see we can just see it's clear with a yellow yolk in. There's just no other blemishes or anything else in there. Very obvious. And you'll also see what I mean when I say there's some that are suspicious, because they don't look like the infertile ones, but they don't also look like the ones where you can see the veining and the embryos. So very interesting. So without further ado, I'll take you into the dark room and we'll candle them and you'll see what I mean. Okay, can you see that? You can see the veining there. Okay. How about that? Can you see it? Now this one, if you look, can you see the embryo moving around inside? Can you see that? Absolutely fascinating. And again, you can see the circle that I've drawn on the egg veining around it. Now just below the circle, see the dark patch keeps appearing, disappearing, moving around. That's your embryo. Now I think these are much easier to pick up on. Even the veining is much clearer on a duck egg, on a clean, pale duck egg. Now, not quite as clear, I don't think, but again, just below the zero and kind of off to the right, you can see the dark patch coming in and out of focus. And now, this, in my opinion, totally infertile. You can see egg whites. I believe you can clearly see the yolk just floating there in no man's land, doing nothing. Whereas this one, I don't know if you can see it, it doesn't have the veining. There's no sign of embryos. But it doesn't look like the other one. Doesn't look like just an egg yolk. See, another egg yolk. Now this one, again, not just an egg yolk, but it hasn't got proper veining either. It's got weirdness. Something I think has happened, but is no longer. So, that's what I think. Okay, so wasn't that fascinating? let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it's a clearer thing than the what do you call it, the chicken egg candling, because I personally think it is, and I've done both firsthand. So yeah, okay, so now you know my suspicions on what's fertile and what's not. At this stage, I'm very reluctant to actually physically throw anything out as yet. I will leave it probably another 3 or 4 days, and in 3 or 4 days time I will get rid of all the eggs that are quite obviously infertile, and any that I'm suspicious about, or the eggs are particularly dirty and you can't see very well, they'll stay in there a bit longer. And join me in about a week's time when we reassess. We'll recandle. You'll get to see their progress and their growth. Yeah, so thank you for joining me today. Hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our other videos, and hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, because then you'll get sent a notification when we do put out a video. Give us a big thumbs up if you're enjoying this video and enjoying the series. Share us on social media, and until our next video, it's goodbye from Hilltop Farm. See ya!